So as you will probably have just heard, this meeting is being recorded. If you would prefer not to be recorded on screen, we would ask you to extinguish your camera now. During the course of the meeting, we are going to leave the chat on. If you have appropriate comments or questions to post in the chat, please do so at your discretion. There will be an opportunity at 7:15 to ask questions of our special guest speaker this evening. And during the course of the meeting, we would ask that if you do not wish to be observed doing something you would not like to be observed on your video screen during the course of the meeting, please be cognizant of that and turn off your video screen. If you wish to raise a matter at some point, please reserve that to the appropriate time at 7:15. If you have a technical issue, please contact me directly in the chat and I will be happy to assist you as best I can. I'd like to now pass over to our host, the PR manager for District 71, Angela Fiege. It's over to you, Angela. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. You're all very welcome to our second masterclass series tonight. This is the second masterclass series. We had the first one last month, and we have this one this month, and we have another one upcoming. So you're very welcome, and thank you very much to Paula. I will just run along quickly and introduce our trainer for today. So our trainer is Paula Perina. She used to be the PRM for the Public Relations Manager for District 109 in 2021-2022. She's from Verona, Italy. Paula has been a proud resident of Verona, Italy, and a successful entrepreneur for nearly 30 years. She has owned and operated 2 clothing boutiques where she found her greatest joy in building strong connections with her customers, leading a dedicated team, and personally taking care of all aspects of her marketing campaigns without ever outsourcing. In 2018, Paula joined Toastmasters, and since then, she has passionately contributed to the organization in various PR roles, including serving as the Public Relations Manager for District 109 and twice as PR for the district conference. She's very eager to share her insights and experiences tonight, aiming for an engaging and enjoyable session for everyone. So I'll now pass on the baton to Paula now to continue with her training session. You're very welcome, Paula.
Thank you very much, Angela, for the introduction, and thank you for inviting me here in this international atmosphere, in this international space that we have here tonight. I'm sure that most people will be in Ireland, since it's District 71, but I also see people that I know from other parts of Europe, like Joseph from Malta, for instance. So since we are in an international space, what if I asked Angela to come and visit me in my own country? I'm going to start the presentation. In my own country, I live here. I live in Verona, Italy. Every year we get about 20 million visitors because we have lots of history, lots of nice things to watch. And we have Juliet's balcony, you know, Romeo and Juliet. What if Angela agreed? What if Angela decided to come and visit me? What would she need to do first? Well, of course, the first thing that she would need to do is look at the destination and make a plan. Well, some of you might be thinking now, I signed up for a webinar about social media strategy. And here we are talking about travel plans. What's the sense? Well, see, creating a good social media strategy has a lot to do with making a plan. And since we can all relate to creating travel plans, I am going to use this example to show you how to create a good social media strategy. And as any travel plan, the first thing you need to do is set your destination, which is your goal. The same is with social media strategy. We're going to start from the goal. That is, we're going to start from the end. And then we're going to work backwards and decide how we're going to get there. If in a travel plan, the destination is the goal, what can the goal be for a Toastmasters club, for a social media strategy designed for a Toastmasters club? Well, there can be more than one. People might want to consider increasing visibility of their social media platforms, for example. Or they could have more engagement on their social media platforms. But if we really think about it, the overarching goal, the real final destination for any effort that we put out there on social media is to get new members, is to get at least guests that, thanks to our efforts, will come and walk through our doors, our club's doors. So the final destination for the Toastmasters is finding new people to join our club. We need to start from there. Understanding our audience then becomes very, very important. And that brings us to step number 2. Once we understand that we have to deal with people, we need to learn a little bit about our audience. Back to the travel plans. Now that Angela has decided that she's going to come to Verona, she knows where she's going to go. She has to decide what are the people involved in this plan. Or there could be travel mates. She could be traveling with somebody. Or it could be me. She's going to meet me at the end when she gets here. And since we're talking about people, we want to strike conversations with people, we need to really understand people. And to understand them, we need to learn about their needs. We need to learn about their thoughts, what they are looking for. We need to also know sometimes about their pain points. The same goes for our audience on social media. If we're talking about travel plans, we might be dealing with 1, 2, 3, or 4 people. But when we're dealing with social media, we're talking about millions of people out there. So it becomes even more important to really understand who in this huge, huge number of people we want to talk to, we want to interface ourselves with. And at this point, we need to look at this from a different angle. So it's not us looking out there at this huge amount of people, but it's us deciding out of that amount of the millions of people out there who we care to meet. It may not be apparent at first. You might think, well, I'm going to post and then somebody who's interested will see it. It does not work that way. When we have our goal in mind, we need to also have a goal with who we are going to be striking a conversation with. And we're going to go in depth into this because this is one of the most important points in creating a social media strategy. Next, we know who we're talking with and we know where we're going. Now we need to find how we get there. We need to find the platforms. That is, with the travel example, then are we going by train? Are we going by car? Or perhaps are we going to catch an airplane? Of course, in making this decision, we will also need to consider our travel companions. Maybe somebody does not like to fly or they hate trains. So we'll need to keep that into consideration. If we want to travel together, if we want to continue talking together, we will need to be on the same platform. When it comes to social media strategy, the platforms are Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, I call it X Twitter, TikTok, you name it. There's lots of them. There's YouTube. So these are the platforms that we have to choose and decide where our audience is going to hang out so that we can continue our conversation with them. And finally, the next step and last step is to create content. In our travel example, it's time to pack our suitcase with content. We will need our bags, we will need travel documents, you name it. We are going to create content for this. We are going to pack content for this trip. At the same time, in social media strategy, this is the stage where we're going to start creating content for our social media platforms. In my experience, many people, many VPPRs start their job here. When they get the position, they become VPPRs, they start creating content. But as you see, this is the last step. So let me show you how to put together a social media strategy that is effective, starting from understanding our audience. I mentioned earlier that out of those millions of people out there on social media, we need to decide is who are we going to talk with? And this could be a little bit of a brainstorming that you would do with your club. That means not only with your club, but perhaps with your ExCom. You might decide that this year you are really going to concentrate on attracting younger people, maybe students. You might have a university nearby and you really want to attract students to your club. Or perhaps you want to attract professionals, business owners, people in the educational field. These are all categories, by the way, that would be interested in joining a Toastmasters club. Why do I say you would need to speak with your ExCom? Well, because we're going to be very specific here. And usually a community club could be made up of different age groups, and we might be missing something, and we might want to concentrate on having more diversity. To give you two examples tonight, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time here because this is one of the most important fundamental steps, understanding the audience, because from there, you will understand everything else. The first thing that we need to do is once we decide that now we want to create a campaign to attract young professionals, is create an avatar. Create what in marketing we call a persona, but you can also consider it a profile. You can have a little bit of fun here. You can give him a face, like in this case, and a name. I call him James Smith. It's not necessary, but it's fun. What it is necessary instead is knowing the age group. Since we're talking about young professionals, it depends on the culture and on the communities. In here in Italy, would think about late 20s, early 30s for young professionals. And then we really need to concentrate on their interests. What are they interested in learning? What are they interested in discussing? Why do we need to concentrate on their interests? Well, because their interests will become the themes that we're going to develop through our posts. You might ask yourself and say, well, if I am to create an avatar of a category that I don't know much about, maybe I don't know much about the professionals in my area because I'm doing something else. How can I create a reliable interest list? For this, I have a couple of suggestions. The first one is a little bit more time consuming. The second one is easier, but the first one would give you better results. And it would be interviewing young professionals in your area. Well, you may have some in your club already. That would be easy. You go to them with a list of questions like, what's your age, if they're going to say, or you guess it. What are your interests? Why did you join the Toastmasters Club? What do you expect to learn here that could help you in your professional career? And also, what are your preferred platforms, social media platforms? Where do you hang out in? Do you use Facebook? Do you use Instagram? What do you use? And you create a list. Once you have 5 or 10 of them, you might start to have a consistency there. You might come up with patterns. You might not have that many professionals in your club, well, but you may find them through friends, maybe through your social circles, through friends of friends, etc. As I said, it's a little bit time consuming. However, you would come up with a very reliable database of young professional needs and interests in your area. Because we're talking internationally here, what may be a strong interest in one area of the world may be different in another. So that's why I say interviews would be good. However, the second route is also very good and it's much easier, and that is hitting Google. On Google, you can find job search websites. There's many. There's Indeed, Monster, Upwork. They offer, usually on their website, career advice sections that they keep updated most of the time. And there you can find about information about in-demand, the skills that employers are looking for at any particular moment. For instance, for our professional skills that are in demand now are always pretty much the same, which are communication, interpersonal skills, conflict resolution, team building, delegation, time management. I'm talking about soft skills because, of course, there is also lists. You will find there lists of hard skills. But as Toastmasters, our field of interest is, of course, soft skills. We don't train anyone in data analysis or anything like that. But we do have resources for people to improve their communication skills, improve their team building abilities, their conflict resolution, etc. Now that we have their interests nailed down, we also have the themes that we need to develop in order to strike a conversation with this type of audience, with this profile. And this really helps us create content, because once we know the major themes that we're going to need to develop, then we also know what kind of content to create with no guesswork. We already have a solid ground, a solid strategy. For our professional here, I've chosen a couple of themes. The first one is professional growth, and the second one is networking. Just in the interest of time, of course, and I'm going to give you some examples of content that could be created starting with these themes. The first one, as you can see here, let me make it bigger, is a blog article. Now, you might think, well, where am I going? I'm not going to write blog articles. That's too much time consuming. I'm not used to it, etc. Well, no need to go crazy over this, because Toastmasters International Magazine is a well of information. It's like the, I don't know if you say it in English, the Alibaba cave of blog articles, high quality ones that you could be on your social media pages. Just go to the Toastmasters International Magazine, and they have updated it now with a very good functioning search option. All you need to do in the search bar is enter some keywords or even a keyword. And where do we find, by the way, those keywords? Well, we find them in our themes. Our themes are our keywords. So no guesswork there either. We have our list of themes, and those are our keywords. We enter one of those, and it returns all the articles throughout the years that have covered that particular theme. So this is not time consuming at all. It will take just a few minutes, and you will get a good list of articles to share. Well, we know that professionals are very busy people, and sometimes they don't like to read that much. So another good piece of content that you could be creating is something that has to do with tips, short tips, something that goes straight to the point and that is grabs the attention and it's quite interesting. In this case, I got this from the Toastmasters International Facebook page. Again, you can just go there and share it to your page. No need to really invest that much time. However, if you are creative, if you have time, if you like to play with Canva, why not create your own? For example, I have created this one for this webinar here tonight. It has pretty much the same meaning as the one underneath of it. It deals with how to begin a speech, beginning with a question. But of course, it looks more engaging, at least in my opinion, than that one. It's up to you. It depends on how much time you have to invest. And next, let's not forget about networking. Networking is a big, big, big thing in Toastmasters. And I feel it's not usually, I mean, on average, it's not really publicized enough. See, anyone that joins a club can, of course, network within the club. 15, 20 people, new people to get to know and to network with. But then we also have area events. We have division conferences where people can really enlarge their networking possibility. And then we have district conferences. And let's not forget that as we are speaking here tonight in Los Angeles, there are thousands of people at the Toastmasters International Convention networking with others from all over the world. So this is something that I feel we should be telling people, advertising, even before they join our club. This is a fantastic opportunity for networking, and many categories of people, students, professionals, etc., would be interested in this. Let's not forget it. Okay, so this is the example of how you go from understanding your audience, creating a profile, and from the profile, extracting the themes, and from the themes, creating the posts. I'm going to run you through very quickly another example to consolidate this, and then we're going to move on to the next section. Now, what about the retirees? We are always thinking about young people, but what about the people who have retired from work and have time to invest? They are the professionals that are that have just retired. They are the business owners. They have time, they have experience, and they can devote their time and experience to our club, whereas the professionals and the students may not have that kind of time. So these could be a very interesting category to strike a conversation with. If you don't have enough retirees in your club, you might want to consider this. Here we have Susan. Her interests are quite different, of course, than that of the young professional. She is interested in lifelong learning, community involvement, having fun, and possibly mentoring. The preferred social media platforms here change, and it moves to Facebook most likely. We will see about platforms in a moment. Again, her interests become our themes, and from our themes, we create posts that would attract Susan. One of the examples here that I put is a video that I got from Toastmasters International about learning a new language. Here, pictures from your club, moments of enjoyment, moment of fun. People who have retired might be feeling a little bit lonely, and seeing pictures of people of different age groups that have fun together can be very attractive. By the way, these guys here are an Italian club that I have sponsored a few years back. They are located in Rimini, which is a vacation location. They do meet all year, of course, but in the summer, they have meetings at the beach. And this is one of the pictures. They have a blast. And of course, let's not forget about mentoring. And again, here, this is an article I got from the Toastmasters International magazine. Moving on to another category of content and I call it key updates for all. because actually these should never be missing from our Toastmasters social media pages. And they are recognition, success stories, and photos from our meetings. Let's face it, everybody, no matter the age group, no matter the professional status, loves to be recognized. Recognizing our members is an act of love, and it's something that really makes the person who's being recognized feel pampered, feel accepted, feel part of the group. And it's very, very good. If we have some VPMs here, some presidents, it's very, very good for retention. Let's not forget, not just attraction, but retention. So let's create posters about recognition. A little bit on this, along the same lines are success stories. Success stories showcase members, and at the same time are very relatable to our audience, to our targeted audience. So make sure that you either create success stories posters if you have time and you like to do so. Otherwise, you can find them usually on district websites. You can find them also on Toastmasters International, and you can just share them through your social media. About pictures from our meetings, I know that most BPPRs will share those, and that's a fantastic thing. The reason for that is that people who have been watching you and who have not yet shown up at your club meetings have some questions in the back of their mind. And that is, who are them anyway? What do they look like? How do they dress? What happens during their meetings? And sharing pictures of our meetings can really help answer those questions. So go ahead and keep on sharing. The next step is choosing our social media channels. We've come a long way already because we know our audience, we know the themes we're going to talk about, and the kind of posts we're going to develop. Now we need to decide, where are we going to post these? And here is a little sum up for you. The first 3 lines that I'm going to show you here come from marketing research. They're the real stuff. The last 2 are a little surprise, and I will tell you in a minute. So let's start with line number 1. And it has to do with age groups. Yes, platforms cater to the interests of different age groups. For instance, Facebook has, on the average, people who are on Facebook are between the age of 25 and 65. So it's a catch-all. There's really, everybody is pretty much using Facebook. LinkedIn has a little bit higher age group. It goes from 25 to 54. And the reason for that is that people in their late 50s usually retire. In my experience, though, people will stay on LinkedIn way after they have retired because they love to check updates from their companies, from their ex-companies, from their colleagues that they have left behind, etc. So you can still find them there. About the younger age groups, you're going to find them on Instagram, on X, Twitter, and on TikTok. We know Instagram and we know Twitter. What about TikTok? I'll spend just a word on it. TikTok is quite controversial. However, it is also growing like crazy. It is really used by the younger generation. It's videos. For those who are not familiar with TikTok, it's all made up with short videos. And it's really attracts a very young audience. However, I was reading the other day that it is starting to attract also millennials. Millennials are the ones who are already in their 30s and even early 40s. So going forward, it may become an interesting platform, also because it works very well for educational content. Next, how can we choose our platforms? The next one is, we've already talked quite extensively on this, is about the working status. People who are working professionals are sure to hang out on LinkedIn, so you would move there. But I want to focus is on the third line, and that is how easy are each one of these platforms to maintain, to upkeep. Why are we going to talk about this? Well, see, each platform has its own peculiarities. And in my experience, Toastmasters VPPRs take up their role with a lot of enthusiasm. They start out posting like crazy. On Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and then what happens after a few weeks, sometimes after a few months, they are exhausted. They are overwhelmed. But you see, this is a problem because in marketing and in social media strategy, what we need to do, a precious word is consistency. Keeping consistent posting is very important. So it may be interesting to start at a slower pace, but then keep it consistent. And here it says that Facebook and Facebook and Twitter would be the easiest one to maintain. 1 or 2 posts per week would work wonder. LinkedIn is a little bit more demanding, and so is Instagram. Instagram is very easy to understand because, of course, Instagram would require good quality visuals. So it would require more time, investment of time. Now, for the fun part, and this is, as I said, for fun and for entertainment purposes only, I asked ChatGPT, the artificial intelligence, a couple of questions about this. And here's the answers. The first question I asked is, given the marketing research that we know, and given the Toastmasters clubs, how do you predict that, which are the platforms that you would predict would be most successful, or the ones that would give the highest return on investment of time, of course. And it gave us Facebook and LinkedIn as the highest and TikTok as the lowest. The second question had to do with being a BPPR. I said, if you were a BPPR, how much time in percentage would you be dedicating to each of these platforms? And it answered 35% to Facebook, 35% to LinkedIn, 15% to Instagram, and then very little to the other 2. As I said, entertainment purposes only, but I thought it was fun. Next, what types of content are we going to choose? Well, we already talked about types of content, but what formats? I should have written formats really, because that's what we're talking about. We know we have blog posts, we know we have videos, we know we have posts, all sorts of things. I have narrowed it down to 3 different types because they are the most used one, and also I would say the most useful for a Toastmasters club. We're going to go through each one of these, and I will tell you what are their best features. It's the post, the story, and the reel. Let's start with the post. The post is the father of all the other ones. All social media platforms started with a post, and it's still going strong. It's nowhere near the end. It's going strong. The reason for that is because it's very easy to create. It's very easy to share, curate, etc. So it helps with maintaining consistency. Remember, we just talked about it. Consistency is key. And if you don't have time, but you want to keep consistency, you can just share the Toastmasters International posts, and you're good to go. Next, it's highly versatile or versatile. I don't know the English here. It's great for things like quotes, infographics, your weekly updates, all those pictures that you take at your club. They can be posted through a post. That's great. And also, it's very good to create targeted audience posts, the ones we already talked about. If we have the young professional in mind, if we have the retiree in mind, we can create specific posts that cater to their interests here. Next, the story. We're starting to get into a little bit more fun here because stories are usually very fun to create. They're easy to create, by the way. They're those elongated posts that you see when you open your Facebook page or your Instagram page. The story, as I said, is fun and easy to create, and it has a special characteristic. It expires after 24 hours. Some might think, well, what's the interest in spending time creating a story if it then disappears in 24 hours? Well, there is one thing out there, which is called fear of missing out. The acronym is FOMO. We all have it. So when we see a story, we don't know if it's about to expire. So people are drawn to having a look at it. You can use mixed media. That means you can use pictures, you can use videos. And it's great for creating engagement because you can see here in this example, I have posted a quiz, but you could have a poll. You can use funny stickers. You can put links in there. So it's very, very good for building rapport and with your followers and engagement. It's also great to show some funny behind the scenes moments, especially if they're slightly embarrassing, because in 24 hours they expire. And then the reel is videos. There are videos that last between 60 and 90 seconds, but of course it's even a 15 or 20 minutes video will work. They are very easy to do. You can use existing videos, one that you might take at your club, or you can just go into the Facebook or Instagram app, start a reel, and it will automatically open your video camera and you can just shoot the video right there. It has special effects. It has green screen, so that means that you can remove your background. It's all incorporated, and very, very simple and intuitive to use. It's great for reaching new audience. See, both the post and the story will typically only reach your followers, but the reel follows a different route. It follows a different algorithm. Therefore, it will be shown to all categories, to all people who have already shown an interest in that area. So if it's about team building, say, it would be shown to people who are not in your audience that have already watched other videos about team building because they figure they would be interested in it. So it's very, very good. Use the reels to increase your reach with new audiences. Oh, I had almost forgotten about this, but we need to talk about it. We got an elephant in this room here tonight. Do you remember our initial goal? I mean, the overarching goal, which is bringing people to our clubs, new members. Well, if we think about our goal, we cannot overlook this giant here, and it's Google. You might argue that Google is not part of a social media strategy, and if we have time to go into that, I would show you that it can work as you can post through Google. We don't have time for that. So I'm just going to tell you something else, and that is, say that you have a terrible toothache tonight, and your dentist, since it's August, is on vacation. What are you going to do? You need to find a new one quick. Will you find it on Instagram? Will you search it for on Facebook? Or if you are like 95.5% of people in Ireland, will you search it through Google? The answer is clear. Now, not many people know that if you are a small business or if you are a service, a local service, and Toastmasters come under that category, you are entitled to having a free Google profile that will do something like this for you. When someone who's interested in, say, public speaking or anything else that has to do with us in your local area, Google will showcase you. This is one way they do it. There's other ways, but it will always showcase your club at the top of the very first page of the search engine. So that is something fantastic. And look here, this is statistic from the last 3 months. we got more than 1,000 people viewing our profile there through their researches, and 90 of which clicked on our website. So let's not forget about the elephant. Now, just to close, because I see we're reaching the end here, a couple of tips to engage your community. The first one is don't forget to use geotags or location stickers if available. Geotags, you'll find them right there when you're posting something on Facebook. That is the location tag, because people around you will be able to find you better. The same goes with the hashtags. No need to use 40 hashtags. That time is dead. Just use very good targeted hashtags, and using the location where your club is located is still very, very, very valid. And next, let's not forget what our founder, Ralph Smedley, said, and that is people learn best in times of enjoyment. Let's have fun. So let's create very serious posts, and then every now and then, let's throw in some fun. People love it. And finally, I have a little thing here for you as a little present, and that is I have enlisted artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, as a team member, and I have created a prompt that generates high quality, CEO optimized social media captions for you. All you need to do is just copy that red part there, enter your club location, enter the theme that you want to your captions to be about, and boom, it will immediately create them for you. That's it. I am at the end of this presentation. I mean, at the end of time. So I'm going to now open the floor for questions.
Thank you very much, Paula, for that very, very interesting session. The floor is now open for questions.
So yes, we have Justin Berry.
Hey, hello, good evening. Thank you very much indeed. This is probably a question for Angela, actually. There's a lot of good material that Paul has actually given us. However, there's a knowledge gap from my point of view in terms of how to do these things, and what are the different scenarios that we could, and the opportunities that we could use to actually put this into practice. And I'm just wondering, is there any plans to document or video record any how-to sessions so that, Vice President of Public Relations can go to these and go, right, okay, I'm going to start posting out on Facebook, or I'm going to actually, set up a business profile in Google. I now know where to go to actually get it. And maybe there's references there in terms of what other Toastmaster clubs are doing this. So I know this is a different type of question, but there's still a huge knowledge gap in terms of how to put this into practice. And I want to thank Paula for actually, giving us the strategy. But actually, there's a big, there's a big gap here in terms of how to put it into practice. I wonder if you had any thoughts or any plans for that.
Thank you very much, Justin, for that wonderful question. I think it's really very useful to know how to put that in place. So first of all, we have the regular classes for the VPPRs that just basically discusses, for the COTs, that just discusses what they need to do at the meetings. I think that's a starting point. And these master classes was really put together to get the how-to. But because of the time constraint, we're not able to get all the answers. But from this question that you've asked tonight, I will get the PR ambassadors and the rest of my team to put together some videos, short videos of how to implement these different things that Paula has talked about, and a couple of other things as well that might be useful resources for the VPPR. Because our goal, the brand builders this year, is to ensure that the VPPRs are well equipped with the skills that is necessary for them to deliver their role. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. And I completely agree with you that there might be a couple of knowledge gaps. And I think that those videos will work. So thanks, Barry.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Justin, I would also like to add here that about the Google profile, I have, I'm sure there are recordings around because I've been going around Europe preaching about this. So some districts may have it. And I've also recorded a video for clubs on how to open the business profile. It's a 30-minute recording. What I would need to do, since I did it a couple of years ago, I would need to revise it, see if it's still up to date. And then I can share it with Angela and she can share it with you.
Thanks.
That's
Paula.
fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome. Vicky.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, this is Yasmin, the VP of PR in Toastmasters of Paris. I'm using the link of Vicky as the president. Paula, thank you so much for this. It was so interesting. I had a small question regarding sponsoring. You know, now on social media, we can pay a small amount to be able to do ads and reach more people. Is this something you could recommend to do? Of course, you have to check with our ExCom regarding the budget, but do you think it's necessary to do it?
Well, thank you for this question. This is something that is really close to my heart. When I was public relations manager for District 109, I never supported clubs who wanted to pay money to advertise. And the reason for that is not because I'm against it, but because it is a ripoff. What I mean to say is that it requires some very specialized knowledge, targetization knowledge to actually be effective. Otherwise, what's going to happen is Facebook will walk you through a routine, you know, some questions, and then it will say, how much money do you want to spend? And you say maybe $10 or whatever. And there were 10 euros. And then what happens is it will say, well, then you can reach 800 people, 1,000 people, 12,000 people. What's going to happen in reality is those people are not the target that you want, because targeting ads is really something for professionals. I mean, I used targeting ads for my own business, and I can assure you that I had to enlist some help there. So I would suggest that clubs with limited amount of money really use that money for other things, like maybe having open houses or other sorts of initiatives that are going to be more effective than using the ads. This is my view, and I feel pretty strongly about this. Sorry if I come across like, you know, this is how I think. Thank you.
Right, I totally agree. Thank you so much.
John?
Good evening, John Keating from Bishopstown Toastmasters in District 71. District 71, just to give a shout out for an initiative, I think that started with Toastmasters International, is the Why My videos. Why we
yes, my
videos.
why, yes.
Yeah, I think that's going to be very effective.
Yes.
We did our first video on that. I think that's a very simple and easy way, and it can be used across all the channels.
Yes, absolutely.
It's an interesting initiative and one I would recommend for everybody.
Yes, I totally agree. I am a big fan of my why. I'm a big fan of testimonials. I run different testimonial campaigns from club all the way to district, and I totally agree. Yes, because they are relatable.
And they're short.
Different stories, and you know, people will find a story that really is close to their heart, and you're going to win them over. That's very, very good. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vicky again.
Oh, sorry, I didn't remove the raise hand.
Okay.
It's not another
Okay.
question. Sorry, I'll remove it.
All right, so next I see a hand up from Shamsidin. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly.
Okay. Good evening.
Hello.
My name is Sham from Also Rockstars Toastmasters Club. Okay, my question is, as a VPPR, the contents, are you the one who is supposed to take your contents, or you can get someone to help you with your contents? That is, if you don't know how to create these contents, can you get someone to help you, or is it that you have to learn?
Absolutely, yes, by all means. In fact, I even encourage you to build a team within your club. When I was VPPR, see, VPPR was my very first role that I took in Toastmaster. And I immediately understood that it was going to be a big job. So I was lucky enough to find people in my club that supported me, that helped me. They knew how to do things, and we took it from there. So yes, my answer is an absolute yes. In fact, it's even encouraged. Thank you. Joseph?
Brian. There's Brian Marshall. His hand has been up.
Sorry.
Yeah, you got me at the tail end. Two questions, please. First of all, is there any benefit of long distance group share and liking? In that, is it going to be any benefit to me in Letterkenny or my club in Letterkenny and Donegal if someone in Cork or England or somewhere else, Verona, likes my posts or likes my share? Or do you find that it's better to target local sharing?
Well, that depends on your club. That means, is your a club that has online attendance? Is it a club that people can join from far away? Or is it just a local club?
No, just a local one.
Well, then there is no point in advertising in Verona because nobody's going to show up. It's best to concentrate your efforts within driving distance from your club.
Yes, but I mean, is there any point in canvassing for likes or shares to try to boost your posts and social media content from outside your area?
Well, even though likes and shares, etc., are always welcome, no matter where they come from, you need to ask yourself if they are going to bring you in new guests. That's the point, because that's the goal you need to start from. And it's a measurable goal. If all your efforts are geared towards getting likes and shares and nobody is walking through that door, you know that you have not reached your goal. So even though it's okay, I mean, it's something that's okay, but it's nice to have, but it's not something that I would concentrate my efforts on.
Right. Second question, around the ownership of club sites or business profiles. Can you set them up, or is it easy to set them up so that if your committee or administration changes, that the new administrator can get at the club profile or the business profile? Or is it very hard that they target the specific person who sets them up?
Yes, this is a very, very, very important question. And because I've had lots of experiences with this, both at division level, district level, and also in my club. Now, about the business profile, the Google business profile first. Whoever opens for the first time that profile becomes the owner of that profile, okay? So if that member then decides that Toastmasters is not for them any longer, walks away with the profile. So this really needs to be addressed from before creating one. That means who owns that profile? It must be the ExCom. So that next year when the ExCom, and it has to become a legacy of the club. It should be actually the club, not even the ExCom, that owns it. And the passwords and everything, the ownership needs to be passed on as a legacy from one year to the next. The same goes for websites. What happened to my club's website a few years back is that for some reason they did not pay for the domain, and it just went unattended, and somebody took over, and it was terrible stuff. So what happened is whenever people would click on the links that were out there on social media, that had been out there on social media for some time then, they would land on this terrible content. And it took a lot of, of effort and even some money to get it fixed. So these are very, very fundamental questions that the club needs to ask. There must be a core repository that will continue on, that lives on, one ExCom after the next. Am I answering your question?
Yes, because now then that means that for a club, you have to identify someone who you believe is going to be there long term to get them to set up your business profile or your club website.
Well, not necessarily. It just has to belong. It needs to become a piece of legacy that is passed on from one ExCom to the next, even for the next 20 years.
But is it possible to do that, to change administrators in websites for the like of Google or LinkedIn or whatever if you have a club profile?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, you can do that. But the problem is if someone creates a business profile and then walks away with it, and they're not going to come back and they don't want to share, it's theirs, but it will remain with the club's name. So that's the problem. Yeah. So it has to be worked out before that.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. I know we still have 3 hands up, but unfortunately, we only have 5 minutes to go. Maybe we'll just take the questions in the chat, and we can send you the response later on, because we're working very strictly with the time. With the survey, which is next on the agenda, I will be sending that out to everyone after this session to just ensure that we're sticking within time. Our next Brand Builders Masterclass series, it's on LinkedIn and LinkedIn campaign. That's the one for September. I'll just throw the flyer into the chat. But if you watch out for our social media, it will be out. It's on the 25th of September. And we'll also have an advanced session of the social media strategy, where we're going to talk about metrics and how to schedule posts on Facebook and the likes. So that session is going to be on the 6th of November. So look out for the posters for that. Paula will be coming back again to finish off that session for us again. Thank you very much, Paula, and thank you so much, everyone. I will need to pass it on now to James Finnegan for the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Madam PR Manager. Paola, grazie. We started in Verona, and what can we say? What light through yonder window breaks? You gave us the whole gamut of social media, the PR strategy, starting with the goal, knowing the audience, themes and platforms, and then, only then do you create content. You talked about understanding your audience. You talked about profile brainstorms, the solid stages of professional growth and networking, key updates for everyone with recognition, success stories, photos from meeting, consistency of posting, and different formats from post to story to reel and the appropriate social media platform. You gave us some great tips to engage the community, but most of all, you told us to have fun. And that is the key. PR is the best job on a committee. It is best. You can do anything and anything. Think big, create. It's wonderful. I'm delighted to hear that the My Why project was mentioned, because that is such, as I think John mentioned, it is such a simple way to get involved. And there is no shortage of help from Angela and from Nuala O'Connor. There's also an awful lot of information on the District 71 YouTube page of previous demonstrations and profiles. There's a lot of information. We have more contests coming. We have more content coming up. We have more programs and courses coming up. But most of all, think big. Think big. And as Paula says, you must not spend good money when it's not needed. Paula, thank you so very much indeed. And I hope we'll see you again soon. Back to you, madam.
Thank you so much, James. Thank you. That was wonderful. A fantastic recap and a fantastic take on the session. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you, Madam PR Manager.